In this video, we're going to talk about the audio for the camera that you're going to work with in this class. We've got multiple pieces that come in your bag, and we're going to show you how all this stuff will work. You should have gone through the camera exercise as well as the camera in-studio hands-on experience. As I told you, we're going to deal with audio through this little lesson. In your bag, you had the camera. I'm going to go over this again just a little bit. You've got a XLR cable, which should have been in the front pouch here, inside the plastic bag. And then inside this container, you should have had a black leather bag with 2 microphones in it, a handheld microphone, and a boom mic that will be used on the top of your camera. Okay, so when it comes to the camera and your audio, there's a few different ways to record audio on here. One of the easiest ways is the microphone right on the front of your camera here. If you bump this with your hand, you may be able to hear that dragging of my nail or movement on this camera. All that stuff's going to be picked up like a vibration right down to the microphone, and it's going to be picked up by your camera. So it's good if you're doing B-roll and you just want some audio for documentation, meaning to know what was happening while you did the B-roll. But what you're going to do when it comes to this microphone, you're going to have in here channel 1, channel 2, and it's on internal, INT. Internal means the microphone in the camera. Now let's focus over here with the audio meter on your monitor. You will notice that the little monitor in the lower left corner of your screen is bouncing up and down, or well, left to right, left to right. You will notice that it changes from white to yellow. I'm going to talk real loud, so I'm going to cover my microphone so I can try to make a very loud sound. Test, test. Notice it went yellow all the way to the top. You really don't want it to go all the way to the 0 on there. In fact, the best place to have it is at the 20, or in this case, it's really negative 20. It's below the 0. So that's kind of where you want your audio to sit when it comes to HD audio, that it should be around the negative 20. You should never ride it up around 0. I know it's a weird thing, and quite frankly, I don't know the reason why it's negative 20, except for the fact that if it's at negative 20, if things get spiked or they peak, that it's not going to blow your audio out or distort your audio. It'll sound decent. So you've got the first setting for the camera mic. Now we're going to talk about a couple of the other microphones that we've got here. We've got a handheld microphone, which will connect with the XLR cable, connects on the bottom. If you look at your microphone, you'll notice that they connect in here, and then the other end has the prongs which will go into the camera. If you can zoom in over here on the camera for a moment, on the other side of your camera, if I hold the camera up like this, those controls that I'm showing you are right here behind this plastic door. If I come over on this side, on the right side of the camera, there are your audio jacks for your audio. So you'll place them in there. In fact, let's talk about a term that you will get used during audio or video. But if you notice, this has prongs on it. This one has prongs on it. This one does not. They're indents, if you will. You will hear these mentioned as male connection and the female connection. I will leave it there. I'm sure you can figure out in your mind why that's called male and that's why that's called a female connection. But you will hear those terms being used. Okay? So now, to connect this microphone, got to make sure I line it up. I'm going to connect. Then we're going to take this, and you got an input 1 and an input 2. Which one do you connect it to? The short answer, it doesn't matter, whichever one you want to use. I take a habit of using audio 1 or input 1 as any plug-in recording, because it's usually going to be my main audio. So the best way to figure out which way should you do it is what's going to be your main audio for whatever you shoot. Make sure that's what's going in input 1. And then input 2, you may have a secondary mic, picks up environment, or you hook up a second mic that picks up the audio, because if this one has a problem, you already have another microphone connected that may pick up something to help you out. Okay, so we're going to go back over here. If you look at the meter down here, as I talk in the microphone, notice it's bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. So it sounds like our microphone is working, correct? Wrong. So if we can zoom in tighter on this meter, what I'm going to do right now, you can see the meter is bouncing because I'm talking. I am going to tap on the top of this microphone, but I want you to pay attention to the meter. Did you see it bounce? No, you did not. When I tapped on this, it picked up no audio. Now watch this. Watch the meter again. I am going to tap on the built-in microphone. See the meter jumping? That means we have not switched the connection to this microphone yet. Okay, if we come up to the settings, we're going to switch channel 1, which is where my cable's connected on the other side, to input, not internal. The only thing that works for internal is this onboard microphone. We're going to take channel 2 and also switch it to input 1. The nice thing about this is you can get 2 audio tracks by using the same microphone in the one jack. And that is what this input connection is called over here. It's called a jack. So we've got that set up. Now I need to switch over here under inputs and audio input. I need to switch it to mic. That will control this microphone right here, if this is in mic. So now, if we come down to the meters, so now that they're on the meters, you see the meters are jumping because my voice is coming up. Now, which microphone is being picked up? Let's try this again. I'll take this microphone and I'm going to tap on it. Let's see what happens to the meter. You can see it jumping. If I come back over here to the camera mic, it's going nowhere. We now have this microphone connected. This microphone is used for obviously interviews. How you doing? How you doing? Glad to hear it. We're going to go over in a few minutes how we should work with this one, but this is mainly used for audio voices. We're here on the field. You know, the Bears just won the Super Bowl. How did it feel, quarterback Trubisky, that you sat on the bench? And hey, there's Trubisky talking on the bench. So, okay, glad to hear that. Now go ahead and get lost. Go into free agency next year. How about you, Foles, for winning another Super Bowl? All right, excellent. There we go. I'm sorry, did I just give my opinion in the middle of that? Oh, well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this microphone. This is kind of like what you call a shotgun mic. And a shotgun mic, first off, just like a shotgun, you know, you would hold a shotgun like this and you'd fire straight out at what you want. That's the way this works. It's on your camera, it shoots right out to pick up what you want, and will actually it'll pick up what's back here behind the mic, but it actually won't pick it up as much. It's called if it was an omnidirectional mic, which this one is, it would pick up all around me like a huge globe around this. This is kind of like a unidirectional, meaning it's only going to pick up the direction it faces. And everything else around it it'll be there, but it will be muffled. Okay? So, the same thing with this one is I'm going to disconnect this microphone out of that connector, and I'm putting this one in. So now we have the second microphone in. There is an area on the top here that if I unscrew this, I can put this microphone right in the holder, and there you go. You got the shotgun to be able to record off of what I'm doing. Now, let's see if this microphone is working. We've got our audio up. We've got this going here. Let me move this out of the way. So, we plugged it in the same spot, right? It's in here. We have not changed a single setting on this controller. We have a handheld mic, shotgun, but it's handheld. We have a handheld mic, so guess what'll happen? We're all set and ready to go. So, as I talk in this microphone, you can see the meter bouncing up and down, correct? No, you can't. So we got a problem here. Maybe this microphone is broken. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I bumped something by changing the things. You see that it's still not bouncing up and down. What is happening with this microphone that I have for the shotgun mic? We're still using input 1. It's situated on microphone, but what we need to do, if you notice, there's a mic and a mic plus 48V. If I switch it to the 48V, now come down to the monitor, test, 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 test. Notice that audio is rocking on there. In fact, if you notice, it's really pushing the 0. That shows you how well this shotgun mic is to pick up from distances. Now, the reason this mic worked when we had mic setting, and this one only worked if we had mic plus 48V. This mic here works through the signal, and what's inside here is, I'm not exactly sure what's inside the mic, but I do know mics have two different styles of insides. They either have a coil, where there's a metal that wraps around in here, and when I speak into the mic, that coil starts to vibrate and actually sends a signal through the cord into the camera, and you hear the voice that you're hearing coming out of my mouth right now. This one, or I'm sorry, back on this one, or there's what's called a ribbon. A ribbon is just that. It looks like a little thin sheet of metal inside here. When you talk into the microphone, that metal sheet kind of just waves and again causes a signal and brings the voice across. This one, and why it didn't work, and we had to do plus 48, this one actually needs an electrical current through it to make it work. It is what we call phantom power. You're sending audio and electric current to this microphone to get it to work. It needs electricity. So that is why it all went in here. So you had the mic 48, the mic, and a line. We never did talk about line, but that would be taking my XLR cable and running it to a soundboard. There is no microphone involved compared to what comes from the audio source to your camera. Granted, there's an microphone involved coming into an audio switcher, But in this case, you're only taking the signal from the audio switcher, so that's why there's a line that works on this. Over here on the far right are your volumes. You know, you see 0 to 10, and you just kind of turn those and get your audio pickup. There is also a auto and a manual. I would stay away from the auto. Auto doesn't, I just don't like the levels, point blank. And a lot of people don't. When you're in manual, you control what you want to hear. The auto kind of has a parameter of where it knows it needs to be, and usually the audio tends to be a little too low. Plus it tries to ride your highs and your lows, and you will also kind of get this roller coaster ride of an audio track, so you want to be careful with that. Another thing on this controller, notice we have input 1 and input 1. You can go ahead and make a stereo track even though it's the same audio on both tracks. Or what you could even do is I've got channel 1 on input 1. I can take channel 2 and put it on internal. Now I've got 2 audio tracks from 2 different sources. Remember when I told you there is no way to fix audio, bad audio? This is a way you can protect yourself, but yet if it's bad, it's bad. If something happens to input 1, I have the internal mic on the camera also picking up audio, and there's a possibility that if something happens, if the person hits their mic or there's a click or there's a dropout, I have some sort of audio track I can put in there. It may not be perfect, it may not be the same audio, but the internal at least helps protect the input 1 when we do that. So that is the audio in the camera and how you would use it. Even though you're going to be taking a camera out to deal with a video assignment, I would recommend to take all this audio out and practice with it. You're going to need it before the end of semester. So this is the time that you should work with the audio when you have the camera at home, and you go ahead and do what you need to do. Even though your video assignment does not need audio, start learning now how to use this. Thank you.